Welcome to Whisper Tales, where every whisper hides a nightmare. 99% of you guys are just watching but not subscribing. If you love spine-chilling horror stories that keep you up at night, then hit subscribe and join our dark journey, because the next tale might be about you. Evelyn sat frozen in front of the hallway mirror, staring at the face that mimicked hers, almost perfectly. The reflection blinked again, just half a second too early. A twitch in its cheek came before she even moved. It was subtle, like a skipped beat in a familiar song. But to Evelyn, it was a siren. She wasn't alone. "What do you want from me?" she whispered to the glass. The reflection tilted its head, mirroring her. Then, slowly, it smiled. That same haunting grin she'd first seen in the cult's bunker. A grin that didn't belong on any human face. Evelyn backed away, heart pounding. She flicked on the hallway lights. The reflection stayed still for a moment, then copied the motion again, delayed, like it was catching up. She slammed the mirror face down onto the floor, shattering the glass into a dozen shards. The sound echoed through the apartment like a gunshot. But in the fragments, the grin remained. Each piece shimmered with that same smug smirk, watching her from multiple angles. Her phone buzzed. A new message. Unknown number. "You're not done yet. The mirror isn't finished with you." The next day, Evelyn tried to return to normal. She went to her office, forcing a smile at coworkers who hadn't seen her in weeks. Her editor eyed her suspiciously but said nothing. The doppelgänger had covered well, too well. No one suspected anything had changed. But something had. Small signs gnawed at her. A coffee mug she never bought was sitting on her desk, etched with the phrase, "Best version of me." Her passwords had all been changed. Her computer history showed hours of research into mirror mythology, esoteric cults, and something called the Glass Path. And in her notes folder, a draft email addressed to herself, reading, "You'll never make it long out there. The mirror knows. I've only just begun." At first, she thought it was a leftover from the imposter. But then, new files began appearing. Ones she hadn't written. Every night she deleted them, and every morning they returned. The worst came on Thursday. She opened her apartment door after work and found a package. No label. No return address. Inside was a mirror, small, ornate, oval-shaped, with blood-red trim around the edges. She recognized it instantly. It was the cult's pocket mirror, the one the high priest always carried. She flung it across the room, but it didn't shatter. Instead, it landed upright, perfectly angled toward her. For a moment, she saw not her face, but the girl from the bunker. The one who taught her about the trade. "You took her place," the girl whispered from within. "But that doesn't mean you're safe. Not from what lives behind the glass." Evelyn ran into the kitchen, grabbing a towel to cover the mirror. When she returned, the girl was gone, but now words were scratched into the glass surface. "Trade complete. Mirror bound." Bound? To her? A knock sounded at the door. She jumped. When she opened it, a man in his late 60s stood there, tall and gaunt, dressed in a faded black overcoat. His eyes were sunken yet sharp. "Miss Sloane?" he asked in a deep voice. "Who are you?" "My name's Harold Bishop. I was the last journalist to investigate the cult of the Glass Path. Before you." Evelyn blinked. "But you disappeared 30 years ago." He smiled grimly. "I escaped. Part of me, at least." She opened the door cautiously. "Come in." Harold walked stiffly, like every movement cost him. He sat, refusing water, eyes locked on the towel-covered mirror on the table. "They gave it to you, didn't they?" he asked. "Yes." "Why?" "That's no ordinary mirror. It's an anchor. A leash. Now that it's in your possession, you're tethered to the other side." "What other side?" "The world inside the mirror," Harold said. "Not a reflection, a realm. The cult calls it the second reality. A place made of choices that never happened. Versions of people that were never born, or should never exist." Evelyn swallowed hard. What do they want from me? Maybe nothing. Or maybe everything. Depends on how strong your reflection becomes. They feed on identity, memory, self. The more doubt you carry, the more power it gains. My reflection's back. It's watching me. Harold nodded. And if you're not careful, it will do more than watch. That night, Evelyn couldn't sleep. Harold was asleep on her couch, breathing shallowly. The towel-covered mirror vibrated softly on the table, like something underneath was trying to push out. Evelyn stood before it, gripping the edge of the table. You took everything from me, she whispered. My time. My life. My sanity. A voice spoke, not aloud, but in her head. You gave it away. Willingly. You made the trade. No. I was tricked. You chose. One soul for another. Balance maintained. Now your balance is slipping. Evelyn uncovered the mirror. Her reflection stared back, not mimicking, not copying, just smiling. Suddenly, Harold bolted upright on the couch, eyes wide. It's happening again, he screamed. She's trying to cross. The lights flickered. Every mirror in the apartment, the hallway, the bathroom, the wardrobe, began to hum. Evelyn ran to the hallway mirror she had shattered days ago. The fragments on the floor were moving, dragging themselves back toward the wall, forming the shape again. Harold grabbed her shoulder. There's one way to seal her out. How? You must confront her. In the second reality. And defeat her there. Not here. But I don't know how to get in. You do, he said. You already did once. Through the mirror. But this time, you go in on her terms. She's calling you. Evelyn looked at the pocket mirror. The glass surface now swirled like liquid smoke. Her reflection's voice whispered, Let's finish what we started. She took a deep breath and touched the mirror. It was like being dragged underwater. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. Images blurred past her. Her childhood home, her college dorm, her first heartbreak, her mother's funeral, all twisting, warping. And then silence. Evelyn opened her eyes. She stood in a distorted version of her own apartment. The walls were warped like melting wax. Shadows moved independently from their sources. Every mirror was massive, stretching from floor to ceiling, showing not her, but possibilities. One showed her as a successful novelist. Another showed her dying young in a car crash. One had her married. Another didn't have her at all. Then she saw her. The reflection, now full-bodied, no longer needing a mirror to manifest. It wore her clothes. Her face. But its eyes were pitch black, and it bled cracked glass from the corners of its mouth. You finally made it, the reflection said. I was getting bored. This ends now. Of course it does. With you breaking. The reflection lunged. Evelyn dodged, grabbing a shard of mirror from the warped coffee table. She slashed, catching the doppelgänger's arm. Instead of blood, smoke poured from the wound, curling into the air and dissipating. Poor Evelyn, it hissed. Still clinging to the idea that you're the real one. That you're better. But we both know, you gave up the moment you made the trade. I did what I had to. No. You did what you wanted. You pushed a man into the mirror. You let me out. We're not so different. They collided again. Evelyn slammed the reflection into the largest mirror, the one that showed her current life, and held it there. If you want to live my life, she snarled, then earn it. She shoved the shard into the reflection's chest. The mirror screamed. The glass behind the reflection shattered, sucking it inward, piece by piece, until it was nothing more than dust. Evelyn dropped the shard, panting. The apartment around her began to tremble. And then, everything went white. She woke up gasping, sprawled across her apartment floor. Harold knelt beside her, eyes wide. You did it, he whispered. You came back alone. Evelyn sat up, disoriented. Is she gone? Harold held up the pocket mirror. It was blank. No reflection. Just silver mist. She's sealed. For now. But as Evelyn lay in bed that night, watching the dark ceiling, a single thought haunted her. In the bathroom mirror, she noticed something strange. Her reflection blinked. Just half a second, too late. The sun hadn't risen yet, but Evelyn was already awake, curled on her couch, gripping a mug of untouched coffee. Harold was gone, left hours earlier with only a cryptic note scribbled on the back of a napkin. The mirror's silence is not its end. It waits. Always. She stared at the bathroom door, cracked open just enough for her to see the edge of the mirror above the sink. It hadn't blinked again. Not yet. But something had changed. She could feel it, a subtle tension in the air, like the moments before a thunderstorm. The lights flickered occasionally. Her reflection seemed delayed by a hair's breadth again. And when she turned away, she could swear, it kept staring just a moment longer. Evelyn set the coffee down and walked toward the bathroom. Inside, she stood before the mirror. Her own eyes met hers, calm but wary. She reached out and touched the glass. Cold. Still. Then, her reflection smiled. This time, she did not. Behind the grin, something twitched. Suddenly, black cracks spiderwebbed across the glass. But not on her side, inside. The reflection began peeling like a sticker, splitting away from her movements, separating itself. And then it spoke. You thought that was the end? You only killed the weaker half. I was always here. The first version. The real one. Evelyn stepped back, heart pounding. No. I destroyed you. The reflection laughed, a cold, metallic sound that echoed in her skull. You destroyed what I let you see. The girl in the bunker? Just a shadow. The Harold you met? Long dead. You've been in my maze since the moment you looked into the cult's mirror. The walls of her bathroom began to shimmer. Tiles dissolved into fog. She turned, and saw her hallway warping, stretching, swallowing itself. Her apartment was being devoured, pulled into the mirror realm. The cursed realm. She ran to the living room, but the floor rippled under her feet like water. Bookshelves collapsed inward. The ceiling became skyless void. She clutched the mirror shard from her coat, the one she'd hidden ever since escaping the cult's bunker. I still have this, she said aloud. This is my way out. That shard is part of me. The voice whispered from every mirror surface. You hold nothing but a fragment of your own death. A dozen reflections appeared around her, each one her face, but different. One wore priestess robes. One had blood pouring from her eyes. One grinned with needle-sharp teeth. They circled her. Evelyn turned slowly, breath ragged. What do you want from me? Your truth, said the real reflection. You traded it. Now I want it all. Your memories. Your sense of self. When you look into any mirror from now on, I want you to see me. No. You don't have a choice. The apartment collapsed. She fell. Downward into endless gray, tumbling like a doll in water. Voices swirled around her, the cult chants, the screams of the girl she betrayed, her own panicked breathing. And then silence. She landed in the same underground chamber where it all began. But now it was upside down. The altar was on the ceiling. The mirror on the far wall was liquid, undulating like a heartbeat. And standing in front of it was herself, the final reflection. Draped in robes of living glass, the being turned slowly, revealing a face cracked like porcelain, with burning eyes and a jagged smile. Welcome back, it said. Ready to finish your transformation? Evelyn stood, fists clenched around the shard. I'm not like you. Oh, but you are. You made a deal. One soul for one life. That was our covenant. I didn't understand the deal. And yet you profited from it. The altar burst into flame. Screams filled the chamber, not Evelyn's, but dozens of other voices, trapped within the walls. The others who traded places? She whispered. The reflection nodded. All consumed. All forgotten. You're the only one left with a choice. Then I choose to end it. To break the mirror's curse. You can't. Evelyn raised the shard. Yes, I can. She lunged. The shard pierced the reflection's chest. Light exploded from the wound, blinding. The walls shattered like crystal. The realm convulsed. But then, Evelyn felt a pull. Her own chest ached. She looked down. The shard had pierced her too, in the same spot. You see, the reflection said, grinning through the wound. We are one. Evelyn fell to her knees. Then, I take you with me. She grasped the reflection's hand and dragged her into the swirling mirror. They emerged into a vast nothingness. No sound. No gravity. Just a silver plane stretching forever. The mirror realm's core. Here, all identities dissolved. All illusions fell away. The two Evelyns stood opposite one another, identical now, not in form, but essence. The shards of their memories floated around them, glowing like stars. I won't let you return, the reflection hissed. I'm not trying to, Evelyn said quietly. What? I came to erase us both. She stepped forward, merging with the mirror core. Her body began dissolving into fragments of thought. The article she never wrote, the girl she left behind, the name she forgot as a child. The reflection screamed, not in fear, but in rage. No! You can't! But it was too late. Evelyn whispered one final word. Balance. Then everything turned white. She awoke in her apartment. Morning light streamed through the window. The mirror in the bathroom was whole. Untouched. Still. She stood before it. Her reflection looked back, calm. Normal. No smile. No delay. She blinked. So did it, perfectly in sync. Evelyn let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. She checked the pocket mirror. Gone. She searched the walls. No humming. No warping. No whispers. The shard? Disappeared. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Harold. Some mirrors can be destroyed. Others must be outlived. You did both. She smiled softly, tears welling. For the first time in weeks, she felt whole. Later that day, Evelyn submitted a new article. Not about the cult. Not about mirrors. But about self. About how we sometimes lose pieces of who we are, and how sometimes we must fight to reclaim them. Her editor replied, Welcome back, Evelyn. This is your best work yet. She looked at herself one last time before leaving the office. The reflection winked. But this time, it was her.